Good evening, friends. This is Dr. Sanjay Kamble, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Yeshwantrao Tavan KMC College, Kolhapur. As I already discussed with you about the syllabus of semester 3rd, and one by one we are going to see what is there. I already mentioned, I already told you, I already communicated with you about the syllabus. Now, as I already mentioned, let us see what is there in the text. The first and the most important thing which we are going to see here, though it is module number 4A, but it's my interest that I want to or I wish to communicate with you regarding that. Already I told you that the title of our book is Ability Enhancement Compulsory Course. It is known as the English for Communication, and today we are going to discuss about module number 4A. The title of this 4A is Father Returning Home. It is a poem by DILIP CHITRE. Let us see some information about DILIP CHITRE. As we know that DILIP CHITRE is, the name itself indicates that he is a Maharashtrian. And on 17th September 1938, he was born. On 10th December 2009, he died. What he was? He was a poet, he was a painter, he was a critic, he was a filmmaker. What is the specialty of this poet? The specialty of this poet is he is known as a bilingual poet. Means he used to write in two languages. English as his second language and first his mother tongue, that is Marathi. So he is known as a Marathi English poet, that is bilingual poet. What is his contribution to Marathi literature or English literature? His great contribution to Marathi, that he has translated Tukarama's Abhanga, that is Tuka Mhane. It is translated as Tuka Says. Saint Tukaram, a very famous revolutionary poet of 17th century. Even he also translated Jnaneshwari as Anubhav Murti. He was an editor of New Quest Quarterly, and the special name which is applied to Dilip Chitre, that he is known as a Bombay poet, because most of his life he spent in Mumbai, and because of that he is known as a Bombay poet. So, being a very famous poet, being a very popular poet, he has written very common topics, very tribal issues. Even it can be called as a tribal, but it can be called as a very common people's life in his poems, in his poetry. So the present poem, the title of this poem is Father Returning Home. Father Returning Home is a very simple and very lucid kind of poem he has written on his own experience, or you can say that it is based on his observation. So what the poet tells us? It tells us the heart touching, or you can say that very emotional kind of attachment. It also highlights the loneliness of modern man. The modern man who is living in metropolitan cities like Mumbai, and he is a lonely, he leading his life in his you can say that crowded city like Mumbai. So in this situation he is helpless. His entire, or you can say that many part of you can say that some of the part of his life is gloomy. And in the last of this poem we come to know that the poet has pessimistic atmosphere declared or described in this poem. So directly or indirectly, in another word, I would like to say it is a poem, or it is, you can say that, the poem of man-made world where the subject is agony. What is agony? Agony means there was some kind of, you can say that, fear in his mind. What kind of fear we are going to see here one by one. So let us see, I am going to explain the poem Father Returning Home. A very, you can say that, interesting kind of poem, very simple kind of poem. you can easily understand. The plain language is used by the poet, and the speaker in the poem, he describes father, he describes the appearance of father. Let us see. First of all, I am going to read the four five lines of this poem, and then I will explain. Just see. My father travels on the late evening train, standing amongst silent commuters in the yellow light. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. His shirt and pants are soggy, his black raincoat stained with mud, his bag stuffed with books is falling apart, his eyes dimmed by age, fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Now I can see him getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentence. He hurries across the length of the grey platform. So in these 7 or 8 lines, one by one, we are going to see how the poet has described the identity, the appearance, or you can say that the behavior of his father. My father travels on the late evening train. So those who are living in Mumbai is already a crowded city, and majority of the people, for their livelihood, for their you can say that stomach, for their bread and butter, they travel by the train. They travel by the train. So his father also is a common man, is a middle class man. He is also traveling by the late evening train, early morning and late evening. As we know that the middle class family, the upper middle class family, or you can say lower middle class family, who is working in a common factory, who is working in a, you can say that industry area, that described in this poem. My father, poet says, my father travels on the late evening train. How is train? It is a late and it is evening train, which is fully crowded. There is no place to sit. There is no place to sit because majority of the people, majority of the workers, commuters, they are returning to the home, and poet's father is one of them, or speaker in the poem, who observes that his father is traveling by late evening train, standing among the silent commuters in the yellow light. Another very beautiful kind of description is given by the poet, given by the speaker, or speaker says, standing among. There are a number of people, the train is fully crowded, and in this fully crowded, you can say that train, there are commuters, there are travelers, there are passengers. The passenger train is fully crowded, and in the yellow light, they are without speaking, they are traveling by the train. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. The train is going in a zigzag movement, crossing the slides, passing through the suburbs. Okay, it's in urban area. The train is not going straight. It is going passing through. You can say that number of, you can say, the stations, and his unseeing eyes, he may not see, because he don't get time, he doesn't get time to go and see the every and each place. So there are so many unseen, you can say that places which his father has not seen, and that suburbs, that area, that locality is going in front of his eyes. He is watching. His father is watching. Number of things are there, number of places are there which he has not seen in his life, because he won't get time to see the different places. Again, in the next 2, 3, 4 lines, just see very minutely the poet had described his father. His shirt, pants are soggy, and his black raincoat. It's maybe a rainy season, and his shirt and pants are soggy. Okay, longer. It's not, you can say that suit. It is not, you can say that fit to his body. They are soggy. In another word, you can say that loose. His pants, his shirt and pants are loose, and his black raincoat. Especially raincoats are always black, and the poet has described black raincoat. stained with mud and his bag stuffed with books. Very interesting, you can say that description is given by the poet. His bag, okay, his bag stained with mud. There are spots of mud. There are spots of mud on his bag, and his bag, even though it is spotted, even though it is stained with the mud, but his bag is stuffed with, fully loaded with number of books, is falling apart, his eyes dimmed by age. Okay, and let us see, a very pathetic kind of description is given by the poet. Falling apart, the books are about to fall. They are packed in such a way, the bag is very heavy with the books. They are about to fall. And next line, he describes his dimmed eyes. His eyes, they are dimmed, they are become small, they are like a hole because of the age. Okay, because of the age. Fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. It was a monsoon time, it was a rainy season, and his father goes homewards in the direction of the home through the lanes. It was a humid monsoon night. Mumbai, which is known as you can say that humid atmosphere is there. Though there is a rainfall outside, rainfall is there. Even the people, they are getting sweat. They are getting sweat because of this humid atmosphere. Though the rainfall is there, so it was the monsoon time, and in monsoon, especially in the month of June, the atmosphere is quite hot. And because of that, the poet says his father homeward walks through the homeward, walk through the various lanes, various roads, crossing and coming to home. Humid monsoon night. Now I can see him getting off the train. The poet has observed that now I can see him. Very simple line. Now I can see him getting off the train. He get down from the train. The poet observes, the speaker in the poem observes, and he described in the next line, like a word dropped from a long sentence. There is a railway, and that railway is known as a long sentence. The railway is described as indirectly, it is compared the railway that is a long sentence, and his father is like a word. His father like a word, and he dropped like a word dropped from a long sentence. His father, okay, there are a number of people. These people are also words, and one of the word dropped down like that. His father dropped from a long sentence. He hurries across the length of grey platform. Hurries is very hurriedly, fast, crosses the length of grey platform. The platform is grey. There is a dim light. That the color of the light is grey color, white color, some extent white color. And in this way, his father coming towards home. Very beautifully, very minutely, you can say that clearly, poet has observed his father, appearance of father. So in the next slide, or you can say that in the next presentation, in my next, you can say that explanation, we will see a remaining part of this, you can say that poem. Let us stop here.